Funny. I can learn English. You were called a different name and blah, blah, blah. You're going to hell and I'm going to hell 6 times over because I got 6 tattoos. So do you want to do the intro, Mr. Josh Brewer?
What was my name?
Mr. Josh Brewer?
Almost Johnson Brewer.
I was going to say, it sounded like he was going, Josh Johnson.
Yeah, no, it almost was Johnson Brewer. Go Power Rangers! Did you catch that last week when I did that?
I did not.
Yeah, I did that at one point last week.
What?
When we were talking about having your Mazda and truck combo.
Oh yeah. Now I remember.
I was listening back to it. I was like, who did that high? And I was like, oh, that was me. Whoops.
My bad.
Yeah, pretty much. But welcome back to another week of Use Your Words podcast. Traditionally, I have Aaron across from me and Josh to the left of me, and that tradition continues to this day. And this week, we gave Josh the non-squeaky chair, so hopefully he doesn't make as much noise as he has in the past.
As he tries to make it squeak.
I know. Every chair we've given him, he somehow has found a way to make noise from it. I don't know how you have succeeded in that, Mr. Brewer. You got nothing? You're usually very talkative.
He's moody today.
Oh,
he's like, yep. He's nodding his head.
Enforcer, we're sorry. We're going to send him back to you today in a very sad state then.
She knows how to deal with it.
Yeah, this is true. Well, what?
What was being broken right there? Fingers? I hope.
You hope?
Yeah, I would rather have your finger broken than an arm or a leg or a neck.
Oh, in that case, then.
You can't.
Okay, and Josh is already trying to take us on a tangent, and we're just going to let him fly out there in the wind. Because
fly in the wind.
Yeah, fly in the wind and not tangentize us. So today's going to be interesting because I have like pages of notes and research. Josh has 6 links, and Aaron has how many?
Zilch, not a 0.
So I
bad.
I have a feeling someone's going to be either typing or doing things on the fly at this moment. I guess we'll have to see. But it should be interesting. He does have enough content, I think, and enough history with this conversation to begin with anyway. So I think he'll be good.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Let's go with that. Yeah?
Absolutely.
And the topic today is video games. And I left this kind of open and broad. So anything from video games causing violence to video games being good for people, especially older generation people, to video games leading to a decline in morals, to all that fun stuff. Video game addiction, video game. So there's a lot of things that this can go directional wise. Mm-hmm. And I guess we'll have to see kind of how that goes with everything. But of course, before we can get to anything like that, we do have to do something.
Here's Aaron's word of the week.
Did that scare you again this week?
No, not that bad.
All right. Your word this week actually is a word that is used in video games.
Great.
It's reticulating.
What?
Reticulating.
Reticulating.
It was used in SimCity 2000 back in 1994.
I wasn't even born.
I know. That's okay.
So is that the one video game it's used in?
Well, that was like the first one it appeared in. It's been used in other games since.
Reticulating.
Yep. It's the present participle of reticulate.
Josh is I don't know what Josh is so confused about over here.
I'm reading the definition.
Oh.
Okay.
Reticulate.
Just give us what you think it is in your head. When you hear the word reticulating, what do you immediately think is happening?
Nothing really. I think of I don't know. I keep thinking about Dark Souls.
Okay, so so what's reticulating in Dark Souls?
Paul, I don't know.
Come on, you gotta tell us something.
I guess the only thing. What's the first thing that comes to your mind? When the sword hits the wall and it makes that tick sound, and I hit the wall a lot because there's small, narrow walkways.
So that's reticulating.
Yup, that's reticulating.
All
I don't
right.
know how that would happen in Sims, but
Well, and reticulating is to divide or mark something in such a way as to resemble a net or network.
why is that a thing?
Because I had to look up words that came from video games. The other one I was thinking about, and it'd be one you would know. That's why I didn't go with it.
You'd be surprised.
Encumber.
I know Ember.
Oh my goodness, you don't know Encumber?
I can't think of.
You play a game.
Oh no! Yeah, when you're over encumbered or whatever, you have too much weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that game is where this originally came from was Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind.
Yeah.
So I was like,
That and Fallout. Yeah.
what does encumber mean?
What does encumber mean, though?
I guess we're going for a 2-for-1 here this week.
Gosh. Well, remember, I have one for you.
I know.
But I don't know. The only thing I can think of, it has something to do with weight.
Okay, so when you're over encumbered, what happens?
You have too much weight and you can't move fast. You're slowed down.
That's what encumber is. You're restricted or impeded in your movement.
But okay. So why don't they just say you're encumbered?
You're encumbered due to overweight, but yeah. So they just
Oh, I always figured it was like if you were over encumbered.
no. You're encumbered due to being overweight.
Well, now
Okay.
it makes more sense now, even more than what it didn't before. Man.
And how many versions of Skyrim have you played now?
Only one. Wait, no, I've played Oblivion. Well, started to.
No,
Haven't-
when I say versions, I'm talking about like on various platforms and consoles and special edition and original edition and
You know what? You can just stop. A couple.
a couple means two.
Yeah. Correct.
So you've played it on which platforms?
Xbox and PC.
Okay, that's it. Just the standard editions or the special editions or the
I mean, it was the first one, just the regular Elder Scrolls, Skyrim, but then I got the special edition.
Okay, so that's two.
Because that's the standard now.
Now it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's it.
Okay. Yeah, that game can go down to fire. It's been on too
No!
many platforms.
So
They need to come up with something new and original.
something will happen.
Something that's not Fallout 76.
Oh, yeah, I can't. I wish I could return that, but I can't.
A lot of people
I haven't
do.
even owned. Like I haven't owned it yet. I bought it. No, I haven't played it.
I remember watching the release for it, like when they had it on the big screen and they were talking about it and stuff. And I'm like, something doesn't feel right. And everybody's all excited. And then, yeah,
It just died.
Yeah.
worst game of the year award.
I was really hoping there would have been. Well, I didn't think anything of it just being an online thing. I was like, well, hopefully there'll be a story, which I enjoy more than playing online. So,
And that turned out to be false.
yep.
Okay, so you were all giddy with excitement because you said you had a word for me to
Yeah.
define. Okay, so what's your word?
I said it in my head correctly. Oh boy. Schadenfreude.
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 Spell that for me, please.
Schadenfreude.
SCHADENFROIDE.
Okay, I'm going to have to say it's definitely going to be a psychological term. I'm imagining probably that invokes Freud in some way.
I don't even know what Freud is, but okay.
Famous psychologist, where he said a bunch of stuff. but I'm not going to go there because that would be weird if it was.
Well, can I give him a slight hint?
No. You don't give me a hint.
No, I didn't get a hint.
I don't give him hints.
Yes,
he
you
doesn't
do.
get to me hints.
You just said
I give him the topic of general whatever. I deducing through my own knowledge of word history and various words where the origin of this, Schadenfreude or whatever. I know it's not that, so I will have to go. A Schadenfreude is
Just dead.
the belief that everything is whimsical and dancy.
Just like me.
Yeah. So what was it really made though?
it's you, Paul.
It's I I can see that.
It's him. It's literally him.
Okay,
Where
what is it?
you take pleasure in others' misfortune.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. I wanted to give him a hand. I just want to be like, Paul, it's you.
No. I'll take that.
Oh my gosh. No,
I'll say this: if it's a minor mispleasure of fortune, if it's
Major.
major, like Aaron got in an accident and
Again.
had his arm ripped off of him at the elbow socket or something like that, and half his arm is lying on the other side of the street, I would not find Schadenfreude in that.
You really want him.
If
to
it
die,
was
don't you?
something like Aaron stubbed his toe and then fell down and hit his face first into
my
his
noggin.
couch or something, I would find Schadenfreude in that.
That would be funny.
Because I know that if I did the same thing, he would probably find you have that initial haha moment and then
Yeah.
you're like, oh, hey, are you okay?
Pain is funny.
Yeah. Now, my question is, did I learn and did you learn that pain is funny by playing video games?
I don't know.
So Skyrim is one of your favorite games because you play
Yeah.
that like all the time. And
Nuh-uh, not all the time.
No, now it's Dark Souls.
well, yeah, and now Dark Souls.
Yeah, it's a switch between the two right
Which,
now.
Don't get me wrong, Dark Souls is fun, but at some point it just was like, okay, it's the same thing over and over.
It is.
I'm done.
Yeah. I just want that, and that's. I guess I want to play through the remastered, and then I want to try and get through 2 because I started off at 3. So
Oh yeah, like playing each one, but I've seen
No.
I've seen you've been on Dark Souls 3 like forever and a day on both PC and Xbox. and
Right.
I'm just like, you know what? I'm done. I've played that many times over.
I just got to do as many.
What other games you play, sir?
I play with that Forza.
Forza?
I like Forza.
Okay.
I think I like the motorsports more than the Horizon ones. I don't know.
Okay.
I need to give Horizon more of my time because I don't know. I haven't played it as much as motorsports.
Okay.
What other game?
Well, we know Smash.
Oh, yeah, I forgot
on
about
the
that one
Switch.
already. Yeah, Smash. I mean, I used to like Call of Duty games. Not so much anymore. Man, what else? Well, Fallout, because it's very Skyrim-y. Well, same makers. So
Same makers, yeah.
yeah. Gosh, what other games do I play? I remember Overcooked is fun when you have friends to play with.
I love it how you have to qualify it when you have friends.
Yeah, well, yeah. I just suck on my own, so.
Well, I'm not that good even when multiplayer. I can't like concentrate on what I'm supposed to do. I'm like trying to take in the whole screen. I'm like,
Yeah, it's a lot. And then, dude, I wish I could get it, but like the old Kirby games for like Nintendo 64.
Yeah.
I love Kirby. Oh my goodness.
It wouldn't surprise me if they come out eventually on the Switch.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Because right now they're going back through the old catalog of Nintendo games, NES games. Eventually they'll probably get to the SNES and maybe one day.
Wait, what's is SNES a 64?
No, the Super Nintendo. It came before the Nintendo 64 and
Yeah.
after the Nintendo. That's where you have like Mario World. You have an SNES.
Oh, okay. So that's that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
All right,
the Kirby
no.
All-Stars and that.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So eventually we might see some of that.
I hope so. Oh man. Oh, the James Bond that was a golden eye.
That one you might not see just due to licensing.
Really?
Yeah.
For the 64?
Yeah. It's not so much. Yeah. That one's been a
great
whole
one.
big thing of talk.
Really?
Yeah, in the gaming circles. But anyway, any other games in particular? So from what I take it,
Red Dead.
Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah.
Okay, so from what I'm taking it, based on what I'm hearing a lot of RPGs,
Yeah.
and I'm hearing racing as your predominant ones,
Yeah.
and then some casual and some you used to like the shooter games. Mm-hmm. Okay, Joshy boy, what about your game list? What do you got that you play?
Well, how long do you want to beat? No, I'm just kidding.
Gosh.
I haven't picked up the Xbox in probably a few months, but when I had Xbox, it was Red Dead, I think was it. I mean, I had other games, but I just kind of outgrew them.
I say you liked Forza for a little bit.
I did for a little bit, but it was kind of like your Overcooked thing. I only found it fun when I was with friends.
Oh, I figured. I thought you had had to stop because it got too into detail and then you'd spend way too much time setting up all your little setups for it.
No, I actually had
That's
a
a
hard
fair-
time figuring it all out.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I was like, Otherwise, everything else I play is on Steam. Right now, I'm playing Hearts of Iron. I play War of Rights. I'm a Total War fan, so Empire, Attila, Napoleon, Rome 2, Shogun 2. Hold Fast Nations at War is one that I'll play. Rising Storm 2, Vietnam.
We're going to be here for a minute.
That's about it. I got Sturmovik, Battle of Stalingrad. I just haven't really gotten into it yet.
so a lot of war. I'm guessing a lot of these are like.
Pretty much, they're all war.
I know, but they're all war. Are they like real-time strategy or are they more procedural strategy? Like where you plan your turn out and then you let the other players take their turn? Or are they real-time where everything's happening simultaneously?
Hearts of Iron is real time. The Total War series is the other type of strategy.
Okay,
set.
so it's a mix. Mm-hmm. Okay, fair enough.
And then everything else is first-person shooter.
Remember when you played Assassin's Creed?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we do have a first-person shooter person here. So according to research, we should be fearing him.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Well, what do you mean? You did first-person RPG
Not
shooter.
anymore, really, though.
He said used to do first-person shooters.
Yeah.
Okay, any other games?
Dude, Golf It. Great game. Steam. Golf It. So much fun.
No.
No, sorry.
Wow. Okay.
I've never played it, so I don't know.
It's golf. How good can a golf game
golf. And then you have obstacles and stuff, and
be? It's still, you're swinging a virtual thing at a virtual thing through a virtual thing.
well, everything in games is virtual.
I just say
Anyway.
two other games I didn't mention.
Oh, what are these two other games?
Haven't played Kingdom Come Deliverance in a while.
Okay.
That's an RPG, first person.
Yeah.
And then Mountain Blade.
Mountain Blade.
That's an old classic. They're coming out with a new one.
Okay.
It's real similar to Skyrim.
Oh.
Okay.
I didn't even think about Minecraft.
Yeah.
That's a fun one. And I like Sims because, well, I like building houses, but then I don't know what I want to build. So
Of
then
course.
I get stuck.
I saw Sims 4 on sale recently. I was like, oh,
really?
that's a game for Aaron.
Shoot.
It was like down to $10 for the week.
Oh, but is that done now?
Yeah, it's done.
No. Oh well, that's okay.
Okay.
I'll live.
So the games I play, let's see here. Star Trek Online, MMO. Play Tales of Vesperia. Well, the Tales of series, which are JRPGs. So they're more like turn-based RPGs where you control a team as opposed to like Skyrim where it's one person.
Oh, okay.
You know, so they're either turn-based or they're very much like free action all the time, but you control one of the 4 people on the team.
Oh,
okay.
Neat.
So it's on the Switch. Tetris 99, been playing that.
Tetris.
I've gotten first place in a few rounds. That's made me happy.
Wow.
Yeah, beat out 99 people across the world to come out on top. Hey, I'm happy with that.
Victory.
I still play on occasion Ingress on my phone.
I was going to
and
ask.
Pokemon Go once in a while.
Pokemon Go.
I will not be getting into the new Harry Potter one that they're doing. Because, yes,
Is that...
Niantic is doing it.
Oh, okay. Because I thought I had heard about something like that happening, but I thought it was a long time ago and it just never came.
Nope, it was still happening in the background. They're getting ready to release the beta soon. Huh. It was just like announced like this past week or so about the beta coming out eventually here. So I play, I guess you could say, casual games on my phone. You know, Dream Burst. It's an Angry Birds game where you have to pop things. While I'm waiting for stuff at work to like run code wise, what am I going to sit there, twiddle my thumb, and then try to go to another task? Humans are not built for multitasking like that, because you try to fast flip between multiple tasks, you're going to forget what you're doing on one of them, and then you're wasting more time than you would have done just waiting those few seconds to do something else. So I used to play first-person shooters, not so much like the multiplayer mode, but the quote-unquote story mode, which now most first-person shooters no longer have a story mode. They're like, we're just going to do this multiplayer online because they want to be as popular as Fortnite. Or what's the new one? Apex Legends. So until the next big thing comes around, that's
all it's going to be.
Yeah, so I don't play first-person shooters that much anymore, because when I used to play against you, Mr. Johnson, it would be like, 500 to 2. And I'd be just in there, okay.
Well, I'm done with this one. I should have asked, was it limited to just video games?
No, any games, like games you do on your phone, the games you do. I'm not counting board games, because then that's a whole other category.
Oh, okay.
And that kind of brings it out of this.
It does.
Because like one of the games I keep seeing advertised, I haven't tried it, but I want to download to see on my phone. It's a Walking Dead based game, but it's augmented reality where like you actually have to like flip the phone around, like the zombies are walking towards you, and you have to like shoot your gun and like move your screen around and everything. So I want to see how that works. I haven't tried it yet, but that might be interesting.
That's kind of cool.
Because there's also a company working on a similar thing where it's, like you would have your phone out, I'd have my phone out, and we'd have virtual guns and try to shoot each other as we run around at each other. So that's been kind of, in development for a while. I think they're just kind of having issues with probably getting things in sync all the time.
Oh, that's the one that has that piece that mounts to the top of the phone, right?
There's multiple companies trying to do it. But yeah, there's one that has a mount one. But nothing's really ever come reality of it, just because I think the server sync issues. Because if one person gets out of sync just a little bit, hey, guess what? They win.
Yeah.
So okay. So according to this, I guess right now, especially in the light of what happened in New Zealand this past week, which is a tragedy in and of itself. There's nothing that justifies what happened down there. 49 people at least dead. I haven't read to see if any of those who were injured have passed away or not.
Yeah, in critical condition.
Yeah, but, coming right out of that, almost immediately you started seeing everything and everyone getting the blame for it. And it was ridiculous. And again, we're back at that narrative again of guns being the problem and video games being the problem.
Yeah, which, I don't know. Looked like you had some interesting notes on all of that.
Well, yeah. So, and what's funny is now we have very conflicting studies coming out about these things. So, last year, a study came out, and it was closer to the end of last year. It was conducted from 2010 to 2017. And it says that an international study looked at 17,000 adolescents. That's a good chunk of adolescents to look at, okay? You know, that's a good sample size. Ages 9 to 19. And they followed and tracked them from 2010 to 2017. And they're coming out and saying that playing video games, violent video games, led to increased physical aggression over time. And now, what they're calling violent video games are games such as Grand Theft Auto, Call of Duty, Manhunt. I'm not familiar with that series either. But they're saying that kids who played these, teens who played these, were more likely to exhibit behaviors such as being sent to the principal's office for fighting or hitting a non-family member. You know, and so they're doing this. But what I found interesting in this research is that they did, so what they did is they did what they call a meta-analysis, where they took all these other studies that happened from 2010 to 2017 and studied them. So they studied the studies, basically. You know?
Okay.
But in a lot of these studies, it was self-reported information. So instead of like me watching Aaron to see what happens, you know, and document, you know, is he getting in fights? Is he hitting people? Is he doing this or that? Instead, I'm going to Aaron and saying, Aaron, please fill out this questionnaire and tell me, after what games do you play and have you been involved in any of these things? You know, I need you to fill out this form.
Right. Well, what if I'm not completely honest with you?
Exactly. That's the problem with the self-reporting issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because what happens then a lot of times is we may see things completely different than others may see them. Now, things like punching or hitting people, and that we can be objective, but what if someone goes, I have violent thoughts? Well, what's a violent thought? You know, is that they want to punch their pillow, or is that they want to kill someone? But a self-reporting thing like that, guess what? They're in the same category. There's no way to
define that.
Yeah. So, you know, that's a weird way they do that. So, but based on this meta-analysis, and they said, you know, based on reviewing all these studies that used all these different methods, they're saying, well, we can, and this is the American Psychological Association saying this, they're like, we can say definitively violent video games cause aggressive behavior. Okay? Well, then February of this year rolls around.
Changed?
Oxford University and Cardiff University, it's over in Europe, they released a new study in the journal Royal Society Open Science. And this is the title to what they put out there. Violent video game engagement is not associated with adolescents' aggressive behavior.
It's kind of conflicting.
Yeah, and so you have two different, you know, you got here in the U.S. they're saying, yes, it is. We say yes. And over in Britain, they're saying, no.
Not a thing.
Yeah, so and I do want to make one correction. The APA came to that conclusion in 2017, not 2018. But, you know, they started really talking about it in that.
Gotcha.
So that was interesting. So the one that they did over in Britain there, they recruited 1,004. Weird that they went to 1,004, not just 1,000. British video game players ages 14 and 15. Okay? Of which 540 identified as male, 461 as female, and 3 other as another gender.
Okay.
So pretty good. You know, it's not 50-50.
No.
But it's pretty good balance.
Yeah. Yeah.
For each player, then, they also recruited their carers. So, you know, their parents or, you know, whoever was taking care of them. And they determined which games the kids played, and based on what that game was, they then went to the EU's for their version of the ERSB. I forget what it's called. To see what the games are rated over there.
Oh,
And then they also looked at what the U.S. rated them. So they looked at the ratings for both and then categorized the game based on those ratings. And then what they did is they measured the aggression and what they called the pro-social behaviors with the parents or the people who cared for the kids. They didn't have the kids self-report it. Instead, they had these parents report their aggression levels, where they were getting in trouble for being, in fights or whatever that. And that's what they ran all these at. And they found that adolescents were not more or less likely to engage in aggressive or pro-social behavior as a function of the amount of time they devote to playing video games.
That's okay. I mean, what if I don't know. Do you think the parents would be more honest than the kids would be?
I would think
I would hope so.
Yeah, and there's no, because when they're doing this research project, it's not if they go, hey, yeah, my kid was in a fight or my kid is being aggressive, like they're going to all of a sudden have their kids taken away or anything. They're just reporting to help figure this out. That's going to be more reliable than a 14 or 15-year-old reporting on themselves. Because at that point, it's not so much, Aaron, do you feel violent right now? It's, do I see Aaron engaging in fights? No. Do I see Aaron engaging in, these other activities? No. Okay.
Okay.
You say it's one thing to feel something, it's another thing to cross the line and do it.
Right.
So.
I mean, yeah. So would the kid have to report to the parent though if they had any feelings of anything?
I don't know exactly how, what was in their questionnaire.
Why didn't you get that questionnaire, Paul?
Because I didn't feel it was important to get the questionnaire.
I'm sorry.
I said, I will get it, and then you can you can take it if you want.
Quite all right.
But I mean,
I'm okay.
I think that's just kind of funny that, I don't know, funny, like haha funny, like weird funny. Mm-hmm. That two different things, looking at the same type of science, and two different methods, come up with two different results.
Answers. Yeah.
And now, before we start recording, Brewer had a little theory on this. So
it's always political.
So
it's
what is
not
it?
always political.
So what was your theory there, Mr. Brewer?
Well, in an area that is more restricted, Europe is more restricted than the U.S., and for them to come to the conclusion that, there was no connection, and yet in the U.S., the place that's a whole lot more open and not as restricted is saying, yes, there's connection. Now, granted, what you were saying is they both went about it different ways, but here in America, we're saying, yes, there's a connection. But over there, they're saying there isn't.
Okay, you're walking in circles.
Hang on. Why over here? I guess why would the data be that drastic?
I don't know. You tell me.
That's where I'm saying there has to be some sort of political tie.
I don't think it's political.
I think there's a political tie.
And here's why I say there's no political tie. The one conducted, and done over here in the U.S. and then, it was an analysis of other studies done already. So they weren't conducting new research themselves. They were looking at other studies done.
And that was in America.
Well, not all of them were necessarily American originally. I didn't go get the list of all the studies they analyzed. I wasn't about to go through that. That one I would need a couple of weeks to compile that list of resources. But they went and studied all these. Americans did do the study, and the APA came out and said, okay, based on this is what we're saying. Yes, the British one is all Britons playing it, but let's be honest, beyond the political landscape, socially wise, we're pretty similar. I'm saying beyond the political landscape of how politics and all that work between the two countries. So I don't think it's going to be...
Political?
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if there's some sort of political tie behind it.
And here's why I keep going to no, it's not, is because, again, all these things are published out there. You can read how they do their methodologies.
Start reading, Josh.
Now, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna be done.
That was a quick one.
But
Ish.
science, okay? How many people out there checking? And I'm not saying science is corrupt, like politics is corrupt, and not everybody out there is corrupt. But how often do normal people dive into science and try to check or go through the whole entire research process that scientists have done to see if their answer is actually true or if their answer is just given and publicized with only a certain amount of information that they gathered? Because they'll do that when they find a certain amount of evidence that concludes one belief. They'll immediately say, "Yep, this is the new thing. This is it. You know, eggs are bad. Don't eat eggs." That's the most easy one because we go back and forth all the time with it. And then they find a little bit more information and they go, "Oh, nope, eggs are good. You can have eggs." It's like, well, I understand to the point, you know, as you learn something, you want to, you know, educate people. But if you already know that the information you have is not complete, then why the heck spew it out if you... Paul's getting ready to say something. So that's where I'm saying there could be some sort of political swing to it for them to automatically... It's not they're not going to come out and say, you know, our answer's inconclusive, we're not 100% sure, based on the data here and there, based on other places doing research and stuff. You know, it's just there's so much conflicting evidence, we can't really say that video games create a thing. No, they come out and say video games, you know, have a connection to violent aggression, and therefore we see it prevalent when anybody goes and shoots up someplace.
They're going to release what data they have, their results based on the data they have. Data sets are always going to change. At some point, you got to cut it off and say, this is the data I have, okay?
Which makes sense.
Okay. Now, here's another part why I don't think it's political. The APA, okay, the American side, okay, where they said that this increased violent video games lead to increased aggression and all that, increased violence, increased aggression. They did say there's insufficient evidence that leads to criminal violence.
Okay.
So yes, and they're saying it leads to increased aggression and everything, but not necessarily violence, which is a whole other category then. So that's why I'm like, this data is going to continue to go back and forth. And the reason I say that is there's always going to be new methodologies for looking at this, whether we go back and look at old studies or we conduct new studies like the British did. You know, it's always going to change. Like the egg thing, we're going to keep going back and forth on that one because, okay, the benefits of this part of the egg maybe outweigh the negatives, but then they come back and say, well, how bad is the negative portion? And then they review that again. They're like, well, maybe that outweighs the positives. You know, it's going to keep going back and forth like that, unfortunately.
So indecisive.
You know, we did agree, though, you know, back in the day that uranium could no longer be used in plates. So we did agree on that at least.
But why?
Let's see. Radiation. You know.
But regardless, you know, how video games might create aggression, you can't necessarily link the fact that someone went somewhere, shot up someplace, and say that, oh, he played violent video games. So therefore, violent video games are bad because they probably helped him want to shoot up a place. You can walk into a store and buy a gun. Aaron, you can walk into a store and buy a gun.
I mean,
the guys on the counter have no idea what you're going to use that gun for. And you might not even know what you want to use it for. But nothing stops someone from one day just being so pissed off that they want to do something. And what I'm getting at here is we always try to blame everything else except for the shooter.
Right. But what they're getting at with their argument is they're trying to say the game desensitized them to the violence. The game, made it easier for them to do that. I mean,
Right.
let's be honest, back in the day, okay, when I say back in the day, like when I was younger, so back in the early 90s, if you had a shooter game on the NES, it was like a little pixelated guy walking across the screen. You shoot a gun, there's a square that travels across the screen to hit someone.
Dude, so realistic.
That was a shooter, okay?
Right.
Nowadays, you have a first-person shooter. I mean, when you shoot someone in the game,
Yeah.
Depending on how realistic they want to get with their graphics,
It can be gruesome.
it could be very gruesome. It could be very realistic.
I feel like they've wimped out in some games though recently for just detail of I guess the gruesomeness of it. Because one game, at least for Call of Duty,
Okay.
my friend, you all know him, Guitar Boy.
Okay.
We'll call him the
I guess
Shredder.
what Guitar Boy is it? Well,
No, we'll call him the Shredder because that's what he loves to do.
it's not PH.
No, I know.
JC.
Yeah. I figured out who you were talking about.
We would play. Wow, it was a Call of Duty game.
Okay.
Which one was it though?
World at War.
Yes, World at War.
It doesn't matter. You
It
played
does matter.
Okay. You played a
It
Call of
does
Duty.
matter.
So that's the one where you blew off limbs.
Like it seemed a lot more I don't know, gruesome than the games they make now. I don't know.
I think some of that's been some of that pushback that some parent groups have been doing because of the shooting in the head. Like, what was it, last year? Yeah, last year after one of the school shootings, president convened a meeting with people to talk about violent video games and how they impacted shooting. So it's still going on to this day where every time there's a shooting, hey, let's talk about the video games.
Let's go back and visit those video games.
Instead of maybe I hate kind of harping on this, instead of maybe going back and looking, as Josh said, that person, maybe the video games desensitize them in some way. I won't say that that's not a possibility because some of them are pretty gruesome.
Oh yeah.
But maybe they do have some mental illness. Maybe the environment they grew up in.
Not the best.
Yeah.
I say there's so many different variables that can impact someone's aggression. You can't just limit it to one thing. And for those you don't know, I want to be a pilot. I've been on ADD medication for a few years, and I had to get off of it to even be able to fly. And so I've been going through the medical certificate process. And one of the things I had to do is I had to come off the pill, and I had to get a urinalysis sample,
Right.
as well as a screening done by a neuropsychologist with experience in aeromedical neuropsychology.
Yes.
The one thing I realized is all because I was on a simple pill, I had to get screened like this.
Yeah.
I cognitively could be in a much better place than Aaron. Okay? I'm just using an example. But Aaron, because he wasn't on the pill, they would have just signed him and he would have been able to go to pilot school and get his pilot's license.
Yep.
But me, I have to jump through hoops because I was on a pill. And
Well, it wasn't so much that you were on the pill; it's why you were on the pill. ADD,
attention deficit
Yeah.
disorder, which is understandable.
Yeah.
But they during the screening, they screen you for all sorts of stuff.
yeah,
They screen you based on where you're. Some of the questions they asked were, if you thought things were superstitious, if you had depression, if you had. So they were asking me questions.
Well, yeah,
that they wouldn't. Oh, hang on. That they wouldn't even dare to ask Aaron. But yet, some of those questions could result in someone who could be unstable.
yeah, and the reason they asked that is, let's be frank, okay, ADD is, like everything else, like depression, all that, it's something in the brain that's misfiring or whatever, however you want to put it.
Going whack.
So if you have one, I don't want to call it mental condition, but one mental health issue, there is the possibility, great possibility, of potentially having others. And potentially whatever meds you were on for your ADD could have helped as well treat or cover up or prevent from ever coming to the surface those other issues. So it's not so much that they're trying to witch hunt you. It's
No,
it's what else. They're just making sure that there's nothing else there. Like Aaron has, because you got to remember ADD, or like me, I'm on some stuff as well right now. I wouldn't be able to be a pilot if I ever wanted to become a pilot. That messes with the chemicals of your brain. So we have stuff that neurologically is altering our brains. Aaron's never had that. So,
or I've just refused to go see if I needed it.
Yeah, there's that too.
but see, that's where I was going with it. Oh my gosh.
Use
I can't.
your
Thank you.
words. Continue.
So, and that's just one example of saying how, yes, I understand that, because if I ever got to the point where I was flying commercially, I was flying a multi-million-dollar jet with over 100 lives on board, they want to know that the only thing that's going to go wrong is something with the plane.
Right.
They want me to be able to, handle it.
Exactly.
They don't want something to go wrong with me, because if something goes wrong with me, then you're in trouble, which makes total sense. But when it comes to the video game world or the gun world, that isn't there. There isn't anything there to see people's cognitive responses to the things that they are subjected to in life, and whether or not to see how things are going to work. So I'm not saying everybody should get, thrown in before they buy a gun. They have to go and take a cognitive test. That would be one interesting thing for a gun. But now, when it comes to mass shootings or just violence in general,
Yeah.
there's so many more things besides cognitive that impact.
So this right here is it's called the Center for Research. And the Center for Research is a national center for health research. It's a nonprofit, they say nonpartisan think tank focused on research that improves the health of adults and children. And they have an article here about violent video games and aggression, right?
See.
I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm going to read what they call their bottom line. Okay. And their bottom line says this: it is important to keep in mind that violent video game exposure is only one risk factor of aggressive behavior. For example, mental illness, adverse environments, and access to guns are all risk factors of aggressiveness and violence.
So there's not just one.
Yeah, but I find it, I don't know, interesting or what, but they list access to guns as one of the risk factors.
I wonder why. I wonder why that would be a risk factor, just to have access to it. Because, I've had access, I guess what's considered access to guns? If you just have guns in a household, or if you can easily get to the guns in the house?
Probably easy access to get to the gun in the house.
Okay.
Yeah, not just the gun is sitting inside your house in a locked safe,
Right.
like it's in your dad's safe that you have no access to.
Yeah.
That's not access to gun.
I say it was never that like that in my house. We always just had them in a case or like a duffel bag.
Uh-huh.
And it normally 9 times out of 10 was in their room. So I could get to them fairly easily if I wanted to. But I guess that would never have brought an idea of being aggressive or violent So that's interesting.
Yeah.
But like, I guess it would kind of take it away from video games a little bit, but media, like, I don't know. I have friends that love watching criminal, I don't know, stories. I don't know any of the shows out there that are about it, but they love watching. One like meme thing I saw was when I don't know if it was directly towards like white like girls or whatever, but like when a new documentary comes out of a serial killer, they just get so excited and they want to go watch it. Like I have friends that love watching all those things about serial killers and just all these different ways that people commit crimes and try to hide them.
Well, I don't know if you've seen this. Like on Facebook, there's an ad going around. It's like, get a message from a serial killer every month and solve the riddle.
What?
Yeah. So it's like this game service or whatever.
Okay.
And so you subscribe to it, and it's basically, can you solve who's the serial killer? And you get a quote unquote mysterious package every month from the serial killer with new clues that you have to go over to catch the killer.
I don't know I don't know about that one.
I saw that. I was
That's
like,
interesting.
What's funny is I was like, maybe I'll get that for my mother for Christmas, because she's one of those people that loves serial killers.
Really?
Yeah, she is fascinated by them. But yet, if I played a first-person shooter in her house, oh no, that was a no. That was a you do not do.
Wow.
Because, and I think I know her reasoning, because I've heard this reasoning even at our youth group at one point in time from one of the pastors when he was talking about why you don't play first-person shooter games is because you're killing virtual image bearers, is what he said.
Who said? Was I around for that?
You should have been. You might have been on a trip somewhere or something like that. It was a SJ.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really?
And I was like,
like,
okay, I get your point, but at the same time, I know these are pixels.
Right. There's a very, like, I guess to go back to the whole New Zealand thing, playing games and watching, like, just why can't I think of when a game, like, has, like, a scenic, like, scene.
A cutscene?
Yeah, jeez. Come on. I'm tired. That's what I'm going to blame it on, even though I wouldn't know anyway.
Anyways.
Anywho, like seeing cutscenes in games or just playing them and I guess being shooters, like seeing bodies like fall, drop dead and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, that doesn't necessarily have a huge impact on me. I guess depending on how gruesome they want. Like if they overdo it and make it just disgusting on purpose, then it's like kind of stupid. But with that guy live streaming that shooting in New Zealand, like I said, I had access to the video.
Yeah.
And like just getting to the point where I could press play to watch it, like I couldn't do it. So, like I said, I like hit through points along the time bar of it just to like you'll see photos here and there of what is going on. And just some of the pictures I saw, I mean, it's a connection I can make as that's real life. Those are real humans on the ground.
Right.
I don't know. Now it's getting me in a bad mood. I don't know. It's there is no word for it for me. It's just horrible.
And I know what's going to
disgusting.
happen is there are going to be some people who are then going to come along and say, well, see, he streamed it like it was a video game, and they're going to try to point that back.
That's
completely
stupid.
Dismissing the fact that it was ultimately this person's responsibility, regardless of the stuff that happened to him.
Yeah.
Regardless of what influenced him. Now, I personally do not recommend going and watch the video. I have not.
No, nope.
If there is anyone that does want to watch that video, I recommend you don't do that. If you want to kind of hear a little bit more about what's in there, Matt Christensen on YouTube, he did watch it and did do an analysis of it and talked about some more things. So go check him out on YouTube and save yourself that gruesomeness of having to watch that, because that is not suitable for anyone to watch. Him live streaming was just...
That's sick.
It was. There's no talk. There's no way around that.
No. Nope.
So what's funny is because you were talking about the serial killers and that. Mm-hmm. So in my notes here, and you even made comment of this in our pre-meeting here. In 2002, the U.S. Secret Service conducted a study of 41 people. So a very small sample size. I will say that.
Yeah.
It's not. You would want a larger sample size to be able to extrapolate a proper conclusion. But anyway, these 41 individuals had been involved in school shootings. They found that 12% were attracted to violent video games, 24% read violent books, and 27% were attracted to violent films. It's the next sentence that got me. Some scholars have indicated that these numbers are unusually low compared to violent media consumption among non-criminal youth. So they were actually consuming this violent media less than the non-criminal youth in the U.S.
Yeah. It's kind of funny how that works out.
So based on that very small sample size, like if I was doing a meta-analysis of this, I'd be like, well, there's no link. Direct link. Not to books, not to films, not to music, not to
games.
Yeah. Back in the day, what was it? The Columbine shooting? I think they tried to blame some of it on music.
I don't recall.
Yeah, you would have been too young for that. It was one of the shootings. I think it was Columbine because I think it was one of the earlier ones. That was bad too. Yeah, you would have been 4.
Yeah,
so I don't think your parents would have let you worry about that.
No, they wouldn't have talked to me about that.
And then also afterwards, people got just so up in arms about people wearing trench coats because they use trench coats.
Oh.
So for a while, people wearing trench coats was considered bad.
A red flag.
Yeah. So.
Huh.
Yeah. Huh.
Wow. That's interesting how, events can make a huge impact on what is okay and not okay anymore.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I just did look this up for Columbine shooting. They did blame at metal and dark music bands. One of them being Marilyn Manson.
Oh, okay. I mean, I guess I don't know. I don't listen to. I listen to 2 songs by Marilyn Manson.
Right, I know.
So I don't know.
But he was real popular at that time.
For sure. Oh yeah.
He was really popular. So of course, that's what they listened to, and so therefore, that was blamed. Not the video games, not the guns, not the trench coats.
The music.
Exactly. So we've continued to do this over and over and over again, just pointing out the next thing. I'm waiting for, I hate to say this, years down the road when they're going to blame, what shoe company they wear. Something as ridiculous. Or what coffee they drink.
What colors they like to wear more often.
Yeah.
Ugh. I guess I could... I would hope it would never get that ridiculous, but never know. Strange things happen.
Okay, so I'm looking on Columbine. Some parents did blame video games.
Okay.
They actually tried to sue video game manufacturers, and they failed. They were trying to blame it that bad. Because they liked games like Doom, Quake,
Not familiar with that one.
It's think of it as first-person Fortnite,
Okay.
but where like you spawn on various areas of the map, and no, Call of Duty. It's Call of Duty, but
For sure.
Quake and variable physics and various maps and that, but all first person.
Okay.
Duke Nukem 3D, and a game called Postal, which you can almost guarantee what that is about.
Postal.
Yeah, so, and to be honest, guess what? At that time, those were the quote-unquote violent video games of the day. But by today's standards,
Nah. Doom? Well, I guess I've never played old Doom games. But playing the new one, I mean, that one's pretty...
the old Doom games, okay, the demons or whatever were like
Yeah.
red blobs on the screen.
oh.
So it was a first-person game. You had, your gun or whatever, and for your health, there was like a little picture of your character's head at the bottom, and it said like your health and your armor and that.
Yeah.
And you would shoot your gun, which was like a big circle of color that shot out from your gun, which was basically the center of the screen, and hit this red blob.
That's what Doom used to be.
Yeah. The old school Doom was like low poly, 3D map, very basic.
Wow.
Yeah.
And now you look at it today.
Whew. Yeah, exactly.
Goodness.
So, I mean, nowadays, you could easily create a 3D model. They're all 3D models, but you could create easily like a 3D printout from all those models of those demons and that, and they're nothing to joke at.
Right. Good.
So, I mean, and then you have, so yeah, that was crazy. Now, something else I found kind of interesting as well. So since we're so concerned about these video games and how violent they are, remember, maybe it was the Darkness one or whatever, how we talked how the standards almost keep changing through the years?
Yeah.
So, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Okay?
Oh, boy. Yeah.
That started off as an adult-only game.
Now it's...
Now it's down to mature. It's still mature. But
Which, I mean, how old do you have to be? How old do you have to be to buy a rated M game?
it's recommended 17 plus.
Okay. That's
But like
what I thought.
an adult can go with you and buy it.
Yeah. It's... Well, and, I mean, the same...
Do you want to know how many adult-only games there are in the US? Not that many.
I didn't know there were adult-only games.
I would say 99% of those games are like basically sex video games.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Like I looked through the list because you can go to the ERSB's website and look just for games based on ratings.
Okay.
And so I looked up the adult only list, and like one was like cyber shooter, where you have a virtual camera and take pictures of a model. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
I was like, are you serious? That's a quote unquote video game.
That's
So
so stupid. Sorry to anybody that likes that. Not sorry. Not sorry.
So, yeah, I know. So we've talked a lot about kind of the negatives of video
So, yeah,
games.
I mean, well, I had another negative in mind
Okay.
as well. Just
Shoot it out there.
for how, addictive
Yes.
games can be. And,
Yep.
I mean, just being bad for health-wise, and I don't know, just... I guess I haven't thought about it too much on the whole mental aspect of it. I was just thinking more so of... I mean, for some kids, all they do is live and breathe video games. So all they do is sit at home, play games, and do nothing else with their lives. A true, real couch potato.
Yeah.
And, I mean... Gosh, I don't know. I've started to get into playing at least games more somewhat recently, mainly being Dark Souls and Skyrim.
Okay.
But it's like, yeah, I guess the thing with games, I don't know if it's changed from back then to now, but it's just you can't always get a whole lot done in a couple minutes in the game. Like, you have to put some time into it to make any sort of, I guess, advancement in the game, if that's what you're trying to do.
Well, okay. Well, like, let's take a look at like Super Mario Brothers, the original one. You know, the original one on the NES.
Yeah.
You could beat that a half hour or less.
Right.
Easily.
Yeah.
A lot of your Atari games, so the old school games,
Nothing to it.
it's just a few minutes. A lot of those original NES games were just you pick up, you play for 5-10 minutes,
Continue
go
by
on your day. Nowadays, you want to do like Dark Souls. It's like a half hour to get between one bonfire to the next.
Exactly. It really sucks up your time.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah. For me, it's enjoyable. I mean, I like playing that game. I mean, I've played through how many times now?
Obviously.
I guess not that many compared to true gamers, but no, yeah, it takes a long time to get through some of these, and then it's like your day's gone, and you've done, I don't know, probably not a lot. So, I mean, there's that. What is what I had in mind when I was thinking about just being addictive, and I've pulled up every once in a while videos of especially kids that they're playing games when they're not supposed to, and then those parents get pretty cranky and they're like, nope, and they take their console, whatever it is that they're playing on, just destroy it. And to see those kids just like, some of them just like scream and like just really angry.
Well, some of those are fake as well. So
yeah, there are fake ones, but it's just to think. I mean, for some of them, the ones that are real, it's just like that was that important to you.
Yeah,
and it's not gonna. Well, I guess now you could be a professional gamer and go on ESPN and play video games for
Well, there are colleges offering esports scholarships now.
That's stupid. I don't know. I don't get that. But it's video games aren't going to get you anywhere really in life as a way to, I don't know, sustain yourself in any way.
Unless you're Ninja, in which case then you're
freaking lucky.
He made $1 million plus just on launch day for Apex Legends. Or was it Apex Legends or it was a game recently? It was Apex or another game, but
okay.
Yeah, that was just ridiculous.
No, because
it might have been Anthem.
I hate hearing about that because, well, shoot, man, I'll just make a channel and play video games and stuff.
That's like becoming a professional musician or a professional athlete. It's
a hit or miss.
And most likely it's going to be a miss.
Yeah.
Actually, since you talked about addiction, I have some stuff up from WebMD.
Oh, no, hey, all right, let's get to it.
Yeah, so here's some warning signs for video game addiction. They include playing for increasing amounts of time.
What's that?
So, like, 1 week maybe you're playing an hour a day. Next week you're maybe playing an hour and a half a day. And the next week
so it's just gradually getting longer and longer. Okay.
You think about gaming during other activities.
Oh, okay.
So you're here right now, but in your mind you're thinking, how am I going to clear that map in Dark Souls?
Yeah, I really. How soon can we get this done so I can just go home and play?
Exactly.
That's all I want to do.
Gaming to escape from real life problems such as anxiety or depression. So you're using it as an escape mechanism. So instead of maybe hitting the bottle and drinking alcohol to forget your problems, you're instead engaging in going to a fantasy world.
Right.
That doesn't exist.
Now, I mean, could that almost be a good thing to a point?
To a point.
Yeah.
So you could use it as an immediate coping mechanism to get around the immediate crisis. Like maybe you're in a place at that point where let's just go the dark side here. You're in a place where you want to, cut yourself,
right?
Because you're having trouble dealing with something and you haven't gotten medical help or treatment. If you use that gaming as an immediate way to combat that and stop yourself from doing that so you survive what's called that crisis moment,
okay,
then it's good. But if you're avoiding getting help
then
and bad. Only escaping to video games and using that as your only form of therapy, then it's bad.
That makes sense.
Yep. just like anything else. Fearing do you feel irritable when you're trying to cut down on your gaming times?
No.
Do you lie to your friends or family to conceal your gaming? I'm going to bed. In your bed with the Switch.
Well, okay. As a kid, I might have done that a little more.
Okay, kids will do that all the time.
Yeah, because
but nowadays, kids just doing that versus a kid addicted is a whole different story. In the olden days, that was okay, yeah, a little bit. But nowadays, kids are on front of their screens all the time.
yeah, you can't get away from a screen, really.
Yep. So other signs. This is by Psych Guides, an American Addiction Center resource website. Feeling restless or irritable when you're unable to play a video game. The battery needs to charge, or it's broken, or you're on a trip with the family and you can't play your video game right now.
That's why they made the Switch. You can bring it with you.
Preoccupation with thoughts of previous online activities or anticipation of the next online session.
Wow.
Lying to friends, yep. Isolating yourself to spend more time gaming.
Yeah. No.
Fatigue, migraines due to increased concentration or eye strain. Carpal tunnel syndrome.
That's not good.
Poor personal hygiene, such as not brushing teeth.
Wow. Just take a jab there real quick. I brush my teeth.
Yeah, I was more referencing the concert.
I know.
So yeah, it is a thing, and it's what they're saying is the majority of video game addicts are males under 30. These are typically children with poor self-esteem and social problems,
well,
according to WebMD. They're intelligent and imaginative, but don't have many friends.
Oh, that's not me.
And then usually these occur where there's a family history of addiction. So, if maybe you have a family member who's addicted to alcohol or addicted to shopping or addicted to sex or addicted to anything.
Come to me just in a different way.
Yeah, you're predisposed to that addiction in a way. Yeah, so, and they do have video game detoxing. Yeah.
But, well, I would say my sister was doing that with the kids at one point, because it's the first thing I know I've mentioned this in the past. It's probably the technology one, but it's like as soon as they would come to Grandma's house, hey, can I play the iPad, Grandma? I don't know why I gave that accent to that, but yeah, it's always like the first thing, and they always want to go down and play Smash Bros or something with their uncle, or Minecraft, which it makes sense to want to do that, but that always being like the thing that you're going to, or the first thought come to your mind when you think about going to so and so's place or whatever.
Right.
So yeah, they did a whole little detox thing, and now it's like they get so much time for a day. And if they run out, I guess mainly if they're at our house and they're out of time, they can help around, do chores around the house to get some more time to play.
Okay.
But so I don't know.
Yeah, they say here, as for limiting game time to an hour a day, they compare it to an alcoholic saying he's only going to have one beer. It's that big of an addictive draw, even for kids that young of age. Screen time is addictive.
It is.
So we've talked a lot about
bad stuff.
A lot of the bad stuff, okay?
But there was one good thing.
What's that?
It's very small. It can be to get you out of that crisis moment, but that's it.
Yep. Well, there are some good things about video games.
There are. I agree.
There's some studies that saying that they may help people overcome dyslexia. Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. I never would have thought about that.
A study has shown that dyslexics improve their reading comprehension following sessions of games that rely heavy on action. The reason being that the games have them constantly changing environments that require intense focus, so their brains are kind of learning how to interpret that a little bit better from how they naturally do, which is kind of cool. I found that. And they even talk about better surgeons.
Better surgeons?
Yep.
Out of playing video games.
Yep. So found that surgeons like that do laparoscopic surgery, those very small incisions, that specialists in that area who play more than 3 hours per week, so 3 hours in a week isn't a ton of time,
No.
they made 32% fewer errors during practice procedures than their non-gaming counterparts.
Huh. I'm assuming.
They're not specifying what type of game. They're just saying gamers.
Just gamers in general.
Yeah, so it could be, a first-person shooter. It could be an RPG. It could be a simulation game. It could be. It's basically them using their fingers on the controllers more.
Well, yeah. I was gonna say it's that little bit of control that you develop. That's one thing I'm bad at, especially when you come to shooters. Like, I'm looking this way, and there's a guy way over off to the side, and I want to go get to him as quick as I can, but it's like how far and how long.
Yeah.
Because, it's sensitive to, if you have it all the way, it goes quicker, and then,
Yep.
as you ease, So I get how you can get that control
Yep.
from that kind of thing.
Kind of
cool.
Other things they've found is that it can actually help improve your vision. So I remember this as a young kid growing up all the time from my mom. Don't sit too close to the TV.
Yes.
It's going to hurt your vision.
Yes.
Yeah. And instead what they're finding is that games in moderation, of course, moderation, may improve and not strain your vision. So in one study they found 10 weeks of gameplay. So just 10 weeks, okay? They were able to discern between different shades of gray better.
Huh.
So it increased that. Another participants, what they did is they had them, like if they had a good eye and a lazy eye sort of deal, they had them play only with their lazy eye.
Ooh.
And they actually showed improvement in the affected eye. Sometimes, for some people, back to normal levels.
Now I know what excuse I'm going to make when I go home and play games. If my mom says anything, no, Mom, I'm improving my eyesight. Leave me alone.
They're also talking here about some people might get career boosts. And the reason they're saying not directly from the game, but from the skills from the game.
That
So,
you
like,
can learn.
if they're a guild leader on a game, they're learning this how to manage people and manage and organize people and efficiently deliver resources and that.
Yeah. So, that is a cool thing. Whether it comes like to puzzles and stuff or managing people throughout games to be effective. So, there's a lot of strategy stuff that
And
you
then
can learn.
this one is definitely a Josh one. Players become fascinated with history because of the games they play, especially like your old war games and that.
Absolutely. I was never a history fan either,
Yeah.
but I don't play history games.
Yeah,
so
me
either.
neither. This one was very interesting. In a study that they conducted, just 10 hours of play of video games, like problem-solving, memory puzzle type games, in participants 50 and older, improved their cognitive ability.
So I should get my dad playing video games.
Like those problem-solving memory puzzle ones on his phone.
Yeah.
And they said just 10 hours. And
A
last
week?
No, just 10 hours, period. And it lasted, and it helped him, just starting at that 10-hour mark, their cognitive ability started increasing. So, obviously, if you do more, potentially better cognitive ability. But they said just that 10 hours, though, lasted for several years.
How do they? So how long ago had they had to start these?
They've been doing some of these for years and
I was going to
decades.
say it had to be being in the works a long time ago, and now we're just finding out about it.
Yeah.
Huh.
So
This is all old news now. What
there
the
are
heck?
some games, according to this, that can produce what's called a analgesic response in our body. Analgesic being pain-killing system in our body. So certain games can do that.
Analgesic.
Analgesic.
Oh, wait, ano or anal?
Analgesic.
Analgesic.
Yep, pain-killing.
Never heard that word before.
Yep. So
Another word of the day or week or whatever.
It can help you make faster decisions, especially if you're playing like fast action games or like games where you have to make decisions right away.
I hate that so much.
And then, of course, reducing stress, because I use video games for killing my stress a lot when I do play. I don't get a ton of time to play anymore because I do a lot of audio editing and that, but that's okay. No, that's okay. That's actually something else I get to do as a little side entertainment for myself that doesn't involve just sitting in front of screen and play video games. I actually get to do something creative.
That is very true.
So
why don't you make your own video game, bruh?
I don't have that much time. Okay. And there's other things that they've found, like reduced impulsiveness, improved spatial attention, improved ability to track moving objects in a field of distractions. So all those things come. Now, is this going to be true with everyone? No.
Nada.
But it can be. There are some positives that we can get out of it, which is nice. Instead of just having just pure negative.
Yeah. I mean, they're fun. And, think of all, like, the social aspect of it. It can help people, probably help people with social awkwardness.
Yeah.
With playing online, you get used to that somewhat of a human interaction with people.
Well, they don't
warms you up.
They don't have to interact with the person in person, literally.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of concept. You hear this a lot from people who do cosplay. They're like, well, when I cosplay, I can be this whole other person and just enjoy myself and not have to worry about things.
Yeah, that's strange.
But same thing with online.
Yeah. Man, I never knew that about the whole cosplay.
Yeah,
stuff.
there's some people who are like just completely have like social anxiety or weird around people, but you get them in their costume, they're like, well, now I'm instead of I'm Greg, I am now Prince Albert of the whatever,
Yeah.
And so they go into the role, and in their role, they're able to do whatever.
It's interesting. But I don't know. Yeah, and I guess the thing that I like to do, it's like whenever we play, if we were all to play a game, I'm always very much more for getting in person and doing it instead of just playing online.
Yeah, I noticed.
Because I don't know, there's
the social aspect of it.
Yeah, and then it's like, when you get off the game for a minute to take a break, it's like you're all there together and can still hang out and do stuff.
Yeah, and that's you. You're a very social-oriented person.
Yes.
I'm more introverted.
Yeah. He's introverted.
Especially today.
Yes.
But yeah, so there are some good sides to video games as well.
Absolutely.
There's the bad sides. Again, it comes down to moderation or not. If it's not in moderation, it's going to cause issues.
Right.
And if you want to even get into the whole spiritual side of things, that's a whole other conversation.
Oh, boy.
And maybe that's one we have for part 2 of this at some other time.
Right.
Because we're already an hour 30 plus in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that seems really early to be that far into this.
I know.
I'm waiting for it to be like 4 o'clock. I'll be like, okay, now we're about time to wrap it up. But it's, wow, yeah.
No. So.
Pretty early. Sick. Now I can get home and play some video games. Oh, my goodness. So excited.
Yeah, exactly. So there you go. You can go talk about how people are addicted to video games and now go be addicted about video games.
Yeah.
Good job.
Same. What a good example. Man, I remember first getting into Dark Souls with our buddy and Callie. And I remember this was during the summer when I wasn't working.
Yeah.
And started playing at night. I don't know what time. But then we were getting pretty decently far into it. Then I looked at the clock. It was like 3 or 4 in the morning. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I should probably go to bed at some point. But I want to finish this next spot with them. So we kept going. When it gets you, it gets you.
It does.
It's entertaining. But I spend way too many hours playing games, I think, during at least the beginning of summer. because it was just like I don't know, hitting a little high of it. It was just like, oh, it's so much fun. I want to keep going. I want to get farther. And then, I mean, pretty much. And then once we finished a playthrough of everything, I think it was after that point where I was like, well, okay, now I know what happens, how it all goes down.
Okay.
And then I feel like I started to get away from it a little bit more. And then that's also when I started getting more busy with other things as well. So
Going back to work and all that.
well, this is still like in the summertime for like the music stuff, and then
Okay.
wanting to go on little side trips every here and there. But then and then work came back, and it's like, back to reality.
Yep. Back to reality. That's how it goes. So, you got any more comments here, Mr. Johnson? Comments, quarrels, quibbles.
Nah, man. I got nothing. But then when we finish this, I'll probably have something that I'll wanted to have mentioned. But
Of course, that always
Forgot now.
happens. Mr. Brewer, you got anything, sir?
Nope.
nada.
All right. I don't.
Hey, Paul, do you have anything left? More to add on to said conversation?
Nothing more to add on. Otherwise, we'll be going our 2 hours.
Dude, sick. Let's do it. I got time.
I got a 4 o'clock cutout.
Woo, that's right. Oh,
Yeah.
look at this popular guy over here and stuff.
I don't know if I'm popular, but
Getting asked to be on other podcasts because
Yeah.
he's smart and stuff.
so at 4 o'clock today, I'm going to be recording on the Convoluted podcast. I do not know when that episode will release. It may not release for a few weeks, so I don't know how his recording times and that. So I got that going on at 4 today. So that's going to be fun.
What are you talking about again?
That one's more a freeform thing.
So okay, cool.
It's basically he wants to interview and talk to people from various walks of life. So
Neat.
I'm a computer system engineer. I run a user group. I volunteer with teens. I speak at conferences. I do all this other stuff. So he's like, "Oh, okay, I'll have you on." I'm like, "Cool."
Be an interesting guy to talk to.
So I'm like, "Oh, cool." So yeah, that I'll mention when that's going to be released. I don't know when yet.
Very cool.
Yeah, so like always, thank you for listening. Any comments or anything, let us know. Our email address is uywords@gmail.com. Our website is uywords.com, where, yes, PH, you can listen to the recordings there as well. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Blueberry, Pocket Cast, Google Podcasts, Facebook at Use Your Words Podcast, Twitter, UYW Podcast. And I think that's all the spots we're at right now. Nope. Take that back. We're at Radio Republic. Yeah, maybe in another area or two, but we're around.
Well-rounded.
Yeah. So thank you all for those of you who have listened, and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, iTunes. That really does help us out if you do leave that review. I see some people are listening there finally. Apple's finally giving me stats. So
Nice. Thank you, Apple.
yeah. So
Thank you.
leaving reviews really helps us out a ton. Really does. Share it with your friends, family, people who might like this. And again, if you don't like us, go ahead and leave us a 0-star review or 1-star review and share it with your favorite enemy to hate.
Maybe they'll like it.
We will go and torture your enemy for you.
Absolutely.
It's a service we offer for free here at Use Your Words Podcast. So,
absolutely. Whatever works, man.
yeah, whatever works. I think we'll leave next week's episode a surprise.
Secret.
Because hopefully from that one we'll have more input from Mr. Brewer over here.
And hopefully I'll actually take notes and
Yeah.
make my own
That'd be good too.
notes for this one.
All right.
For that one.
So I think we're pretty good at this point here. Let's wrap this up. What do you say?
Goodbye! Until next time.